The Devils, they've had themselves quite the active NHL offseason as the team looks to change their fortune and make a return to the postseason in 2025. Let's talk about New Jersey's offseason, and we're going to do it with the great Devils beat writer for the Hockey News, the one and only Kristy Flannery, who joins me now. Kristy, long time no see. How you doing? How's the offseason going for you?
Hi, Dexter. It's so good. Thank you so much for having me back. I haven't talked to you in so long, so this is great.
Yeah, it's been a while, but glad to be back talking some Devils hockey with you. And so let's get right into it, Kristy, because over the past few years, goaltending has been a major topic among Devils fans. And this summer, the team traded for a new goaltender as they acquired Jacob Markstrom from the Flames. What does this acquisition mean for this team in terms of the impact that Markstrom can have on the Devils? How do you see him impacting this team?
The fact that this team is moving forward with a tandem of Jacob Markstrom and Jake Allen is huge. You have Allen, who won a Stanley Cup with St. Louis Blues. You have Markstrom, who was a Vezina Trophy finalist not too long ago. And they add stability to a position that has not had that in so long. And these are two veteran goaltenders that have, frankly, they've seen it all. And, you know, when you look at this playoffs, the teams that have, you know, the Connor Hellebuycks, the Andre Vasilevskis, like, they don't necessarily guarantee teams a deep playoff run, but they offer stability, and that's what the Devils really needed to address, and they finally have it. So Devils fans should be thrilled.
Stability between the pipes. Devil fans should be thrilled because they've been asking for it for quite some time. Hopefully they have it right now. But continuing on stopping goals from getting through, talking about defense, the team talked about wanting to get tougher and play against, you know, some tougher opponents and bring that energy there. And they signed some defensemen of note. Brett Pesce, they signed him to a 6-year deal. Also Brendan Dillon to a 3-year contract. Did those moves accomplish the Devils' goals of getting bigger and more physical for next season?
Yeah, so if you want, I could start with Brendan Dillon. He's 6'4". He's 225 pounds. And a stat that really Devils fans are going to love is that he had 241 hits last season. So he does bring that physical, punishing kind of style of play to opposing players that are in the Devils zone. And if you look at the Devils and you look at their defense last year and you eliminate Kevin Ball and Brendan Smith, who are no longer with the team, Jonas Siegenthaler had the most hits amongst the Devils last year, and he only had 87. Then you had Luke Hughes with 24 and Nemitz with 22. So just the presence of a guy like Brendan Dillon is going to be huge for this club. And then with Brett Pesce, he's 6'3", he's 206 pounds, and he blocked the second most amount of shots on Carolina last year with 111, I believe. And, you know, people talk about defense, and a lot of defense is making a choice. It's making a choice to block shots in front of your goaltender. And having two veterans that have a combined, I think, over 1,000 games of experience, willing to take hits, willing to make hits, willing to block shots. That's something the Devils desperately need in the back end. So they absolutely, you know, achieved what they wanted to going out to this offseason.
All right, so they got that done, not only to get bigger and more physical. You have guys who, like you said, willing to make hits, willing to block shots in front of goals. So that is huge for the Devils moving forward. Now, beside those moves, Kristy, there also were some smaller moves in terms of trading for Paul Cotter, signing forward Stefan Noesen. How do those moves help with the Devils' depth, something they also wanted to add to this roster? How does that help with their depth for this coming season?
You could see that Fitzgerald wanted to change the depth. He, you know, parted ways with Yegor Sharangovich, Jesper Boquist, Alexander Holtz. He wants that gritty style of play. And the one thing I've been saying all season was they needed to figure out how to replace the BMW line, which was a line of Nathan Bastian, Michael McLeod, and Miles Wood. And with Cotter, with Noesen coming back, you kind of have those types of players again. You need that trio of players who you can have that energy and you can let out after, you know, the opposing team scores a goal to bring that spark, be heavy on the forecheck, be physical. And that's really what the Devils have in those two players specifically. So you're going to look at a lot tougher and a more well-rounded forward group for New Jersey.
All right, so got some depth, more well-rounded forward group for them. That is good for them moving forward. And Kristy, last thing for me, when you look at the moves that the Devils made this offseason, including a new head coach, Sheldon Keefe, do you look at this New Jersey team as a playoff squad in 2025? Can they get back to the postseason?
On paper, at this point, on July 5th, this looks like a Stanley Cup team. I would say at this point in time, if they are not in the playoffs, something went severely wrong. Whether it was injuries or lack of chemistry, something went wrong for this team and this group of guys to not make the playoffs.
All right, this is good, but it is early. I understand it's very early, and the July 5th we're talking about here, but saying that they can do it, it's going to take a lot of that work and chemistry, and this is why they play the games. You don't just give out trophies. You don't just give out playoff berths on July 5th. But it's an early start, Kristy, to the offseason. You've been doing a lot of great work for the Hockey News, covering the Devils and everything that's going on with them. Keep up the great work. We appreciate you, and I will talk to you more about some Devils hockey soon. It's been too long, so sooner rather than later.
Thank you so much for having me back on.